I am a storyteller. My dad was a great joke teller, and I used to love to tell jokes that he had told, and I could do it well. From the time I was a kid, I did a good job telling jokes. And I have told people, actually in lectures I've given, if you can tell a joke and people laugh, you could be an editor, because it means you know how to tell a story. In my life growing up, I hated reading. So my books in my life were movies. And I would go to the movies every weekend growing up. And I didn't think about working in movies, but that was my main interest in life. After I graduated high school, I was in college and I dropped out. At the same time, I had an aunt, and she said, I have an old college friend, and he just went to work at Universal Studios. So she calls him, sets up a meeting. I go talk to him. I had a job 2 days later in what was called the print shop. I felt like that was the beginning of my career. I was so happy. It meant I had to start in the movie business. And I knew that I was a good storyteller. I could tell stories. When Terry and I were working on Days of Heaven, we learned some things that we didn't know ourselves. And that was, can we tell a movie without dialogue and add voiceover to it? It was never intended to have voiceover. And we were stuck, and then all of a sudden we had a breakthrough. So what we decided to do was show Linda scenes from the movie and then stop and say, so what just happened? And let her tell us what just happened in a scene. There's a scene at night where Sam Shepard, Richard Gere, Brooke Adams, and Linda standing by railroad tracks, and a train goes by, and Linda says,
instead of getting sicker, he just stayed the same. He didn't get sicker, he didn't get better.
And that was all Linda. So it influenced how I cut scenes in movies that followed that. What I cut on Tree of Life, like I was cutting Thin Red Line or Days of Heaven. These are Terry's movies. I know what he's looking for, and he left me alone completely. And that's been my career since then. I've cut all kinds of movies, comedies, action, drama, but that has always been an element of my storytelling nature. It was so different working on Top Gun compared to anything I'd ever worked on, actually, because Tony wasn't a storyteller as much as he was a shooter. We shot the whole ground story first. Well, when it came time to shoot the aerial footage, and they showed the pages of the flying scenes to the pilots, and they said, oh, this is really fun. By the way, we can't make the planes do what's described here. They don't do that. So he calls me up, and he tells me, I said, well, we have to shoot these scenes like we're shooting a chase scene of cars. And that's how we discovered how to shoot the flying scenes. That helped make the movie work. And then I decided I wanted to direct. There was a movie made when I was a kid. I was probably 9 years old, that I saw in the theater that was closest to where I grew up, the Fairfax Theater in LA. It was a movie called The Little Fugitive. It was about two brothers, about the same ages as me and my brother. And the story of it, I never forgot. I loved every instance of that movie. And I thought maybe a good movie to start with would be a form of a remake of that movie. I wanted to make the kind of movie where kids would say, it's the kind of movie my parents go see, but it was for me. So I pitched the idea to Marty Brest, and he said, I love this idea. I'll produce it. So we got a deal at Castle Rock and made the movie. I had a great time making it. Great. And I made the movie I wanted to make. We had 3 or 4 previews of it for kids. They loved it. And then, of all things, it opened at the Fairfax Theater. I went there that night just to take a picture of the marquee. I was so happy. I couldn't believe that it opened there. A friend of my wife's, who she used to work with, is Ross LaManna. And then Ross, after years of screenwriting, got the opportunity to run the film department at ArtCenter College. What his idea was is to bring people currently working in the film industry to the school. So he asked me, would you consider mentoring some of our students? Just meet with them when they would like to meet, and they could show you their work and talk to them, because you know what the business is like and what's going on out there and everything. So I said, okay. And I've been doing that now on and off 7 or 8 years. I love the kids. I love the people I meet. They're wonderful. And I feel like that's where the talent is of the world. If they have that passion and they're willing to experiment and not be kind of run-of-the-mill about what they're trying to do, and they're new about it, I love that. I love it because I feel like they're not me, you know? I'm not them. They have new ideas. It's wonderful to hear them. I get excited every time I take a movie on. Everyone's like the first one. I love it. I don't want to stop. I have no plans to retire. It's what I always wanted. And I still think, you know, that I'm 20. So I can't help that.